Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get Your Done Venture Studios, premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. Today, GSD has 153 companies from 59 countries around the world inside of GSD. So with that, I'd like to introduce our guest. Lena is a professional CEO and founder of Profi. She's got 3.5 years experience. She's passionate about enabling professionals such as coaches, consultants, therapists, and trainers to scale and maximize to their full potential. The impact on their all-in-one operating platform for professional service providers. She's an official member, Profi's official member of the Forbes Coaches Council, an invitation-only community for leading business and career coaches. Profi covers professional services firms' end-to-end life cycle and workflows from the first tail to the full scale. It streamlines and automates the business operations and service delivery process, including client onboarding, payments, content and service delivery, multi-provider workflow management, reporting, analytics, role and permission, CRM, and much more. So by consolidating their tech stack, reducing costs, unlocking growth, and servicing their clients in one system, Profi helps professional service firms achieve their full potential and make a difference on the planet Earth. And with that, I'd like to bring Alina on board. Hi, Alina. How are you?
Hi, Gary. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to jump with you and learn from you and share some things that we see on the market.
Sounds great. So tell us a little bit about it. So you actually went to Moscow State University. Boy, the world has changed a little bit since 2010, huh?
Yeah, and the world has taken an unexpected turn a couple of times, at least.
So you started out, so you went to, so you were in business, you studied business and got your BBA. And then what made you decide to go to, to become a producer and a TV news editor? What made you decide to do that?
Yeah, I was actually lucky because I was an intern at the third largest TV kind of network in the CIS countries, and I think in Europe as well. And they offered me a job to be a producer right after the end of the internship. And I remember that call. I was like, I actually didn't know what producers do.
Really? Well, you really impressed them to get that kind of job. I mean, and what was it like? They just come up, oh, you want to be a producer. What's a producer do?
Exactly. Yeah, I was definitely hungry, and I love to stay hungry. And I think that's a competitive advantage that founders always have over more kind of well-established companies. That feeling of hunger, I think Steve Jobs was praising a lot, and pretty much probably every other founder and CEO praises. So always be hungry.
Yeah, no, that's right. You got to be hungry and be kind too. He forgot about that. You got to treat people the way you want to get treated sometimes, right? So you went down through, so what is this thing, War and Peace Media Group? What was that all about?
Yeah, that company was actually creating this gamified TV experience and several documentaries. We were filming really outstanding projects about, submarines, different kind of technologies, science, lots of co-production with European and US-based big networks, as well as China and India. So everything related to kind of intellectual. It was the ICP, the ideal customer persona there was highly intellectual, hungry for knowledge viewers. And we were using data early on before Netflix was kind of, public about and changing the landscape of the TV experience by adding heavy data analytics. We're also doing that now. We're kind of much smaller for scale.
And then, so what's this thing? You talk about conscious hacking. What was that all about?
Oh, that's a personal passion. There have been a sizable movement in the Bay Area. I used to live in San Francisco back then, where it's called consciousness hacking, where we were collecting anything. There has been, and right now I think it's a huge uprising in the amount of data sources we collect about not just human health, but also anything that's related to more of a kind of softer areas, such as, I don't know, awareness, vitality, consciousness. And that movement was specifically tailored around technology that helps us advance our self awareness as well as kind of increase our self mastery. So lots of very cool, for example, frequency-based health and wellness analytics. Now it's a patented technology that is on the market and selling to enterprises. But whatever, 10 years ago, a decade ago, it was, wow, is this thing real? Can it actually deliver results? Now there are studies that's been kind of backed with science, and we know that we can analyze the frequencies, and the frequencies actually do have an impact back to us. It's a kind of two-way street. But back then it was kind of a part of this, early adopter community for those kind of technologies.
So, and then, you went for that. You were the executive producer with, what is it, Propy Nimatio, right? What was that all about?
So the main project there was AirPano. Pretty much it means entrepreneur, and I was just doing several interesting production projects, buying, selling formats at Cannes Producer Film Festival, as well as also we were doing just really interesting stuff in the producing environment. But the most the most exciting and my beloved project is called AirPano. I mean, of course, I love everything I do. There's just so much love that I pour into the way that I serve humanity. And, it used to be TV, used to be producing, used to be media. Now it's technology. But AirPano definitely has a very special place in my heart because AirPano was created as a nonprofit where it was actually there's a one donor, there's a one backer of that company that decided to enable, that decided to kind of invest a lot of money into allowing people that don't have financial or physical ability to see the world to experience it from the bird's eye view. And we were traveling around the world and shooting the whole planet Earth from anything that flies, primarily helicopters. Also, we were building drones. Again, a decade ago, we were building rockets too. And we were filming one of a kind, highest quality 360 panoramas and 360 videos. And we were constantly, taking all the kind of from first to fifth place in different kind of awards. The project started as a nonprofit where we're just publishing panoramas from around the world of unique places, of cities, of landmarks, historical sites. And we were getting beautiful, delightful emails to our support constantly saying that, hey, I live in Iraq, for example, or in Afghanistan or anywhere else, and I will never be able to see wherever, Golden Gate Bridge or Eiffel Tower. But with your project, I got to experience it from the bird's eye view. Thank you so much. And, I was the only kind of sentimental person in the team. So I would always kind of cry over those kind of emails because I felt the impact that we were producing and delivering in the world, from those emails. And we had to build a full vertical ourselves. Stitching software, hardware, everything was built in-house. And that's where I got the bug for building a technology that scales impact and that enables a certain impact in the world. Because technology is a force multiplier. And after I've kind of done a lot with AirPano and we licensed our product to Apple, Facebook, Google, Chinese networks, Indian networks, all over. We had billions and billions of views. And the product actually became very successful. We would always have our servers down from the amount of traffic. Each time CNN would release a feature about us or BBC or anyone else, we started getting really very, very good licensing deals. And that's when I was like, I think I'm kind of ready to multiply something else. And that's when I asked myself, what else do I want to see more of in the world? What else do I want to multiply? And being a huge fan of care economy, or overall people that deliver care, coaches, consultants, trainers, and therapists, I was like, wow, these people are here for the right reasons. They dedicated their lives to care for others and to help others. Who's helping them? And I was.
Why did you get into the transformational food business? How did that happen?
I was just. I had access to food producers, as well as parks and different locations in the city. So I was like, I can match those two opportunities into gaps, and I produced this chain of vending machines with good products.
Wow, that's amazing. And you did that for 3 years. And then what is this AirPano that you're talking about, right? So
yeah.
you went around the world doing these panoramas. What happened with the company?
Nothing. The company still operates. The company is very successful. We have millions and billions of views on our content. Again, 360 videos and 360 panoramas. Most of Apple TV screensaver is our content, as well as Google Maps, Google Earth, Google Chrome, Oculus. When they were releasing the product, everything that they were kind of showcasing in the VR set was our content. Apple, when they released one of the iPads, preloaded our content on all of the iPads across the world. So the project is wildly successful, and we now film the outer space as well as underwater. And I deeply love it.
And were you one of the founders of that company?
No, there's one founder, but I was an executive producer, and it was me and around maybe a dozen photographers and creators.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so tell me, so now how did you come up with the idea of Profi? So this end-to-end platform for professional services business. How did you come up with that?
Yeah, again, as I was kind of, there's that feeling when you feel that it's time to move towards something else. It's just like you cannot miss that feeling when you feel like one chapter is closing and another chapter is opening. So I got that feeling one day, even though I deeply love AirPano and everything that I've done before. But I felt like it's time to, again, augment another industry with all the experience that I was very fortunate to get and gain from the media industry, and having been, serving people through AirPano, which was tech and a media company. I, as a client of many coaches and consultants and trainers and therapists too, I saw that they're struggling with their technology. And I felt like it's a different part of the brain that gets activated. And when they're delivering the care, when they're delivering their service, when they're, kind of helping their customers, versus when they need to think about the client experience, user journey, billing terms, has that client paid them, what are my conversion rates? It's just very different skill sets, and even kind of, very different, habits and rhythms of how they need to think about their work. And I was like, why don't I help and enable and amplify care so that we can scale help to a lot more people and increase access, and then shorten the path from kind of a person thinking that they need help to getting that actual highly personalized help in a very efficient manner.
And so tell us about how's the business right now?
I've been very lucky. As I started Profi, which had a different name back then, I met Adam Miller, who just stepped down from the role of CEO of Cornerstone on Demand, and we decided to take this product to the market together. He was like, I know exactly what you're solving. I have a sweet spot in my heart for this market as well. Let's do this together. So I'm definitely standing on the shoulders of the giants. Adam has been a phenomenal partner, and in everything, in design and brainstorming and everything. And now we're servicing this market and scaling Profi.
So what's it going to look like? How does it, where are you now? Are you international or the US? Where is it right now?
I think nowadays you got to be international, and you got to be, I think, flexibility. Overall flexibility and configurability is a core of our DNA, and I don't think there is a world where you can build a company differently nowadays, given the dynamics in the market, in products, and overall in the world. We're definitely servicing companies across the world, but our home is the US. Even though I definitely see some interesting dynamics in some overseas markets, but the domestic market has been keeping us busy.
And then, so what's the vision? Where do you want to take the company? Are you gonna IPO the company? Do you want to get acquired? What's the direction of the company?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the world is changing, and right now we're in a very interesting cycle where we don't know what. I mean, there's no IPO window right now, and frankly, we're not that big for an IPO, kind of to be in an IPO queue. But we will see when we're ready. We'll see what's the best path forward for all of our stakeholders, which is customers, team, investors, and overall, what's the best kind of strategy for the product. So we'll see. We're definitely in for a long term, and we're definitely in for big and huge success. We're not taking easy decisions and not cutting corners. The product, we're building an ERP system, and it's a very, very comprehensive product that takes a while to build, and that takes a lot of brain power and deep kind of tight partnership between the teams. Mm-hmm. So
who's your typical customer? What do they look like? Like you just say your top 5 customers. Were they doctors or therapists, or who are they?
Yeah, we service providers from the first scale to full scale, from their first sale to full scale. We do have solopreneurs, smaller teams, but our primary focus area are enterprises, because they experience a very pain, and they just cannot grow without a solution, without a backbone to their business. And normally in all of our corporate and enterprise deals, it's us versus custom build out. So it's, and we save them millions of dollars and years of development. And of course, building your own software, if you're not a software company, not a software first company, it comes with a whole set of challenges that not all of the companies think about from the beginning, but they eventually, normally 500,000 in to kind of development costs, then that's when they realize, oh my God, building our own tech is not as easy as just to hire a developer. You actually need a lot of really interesting roles on your headcount, on your payroll. It's different cycle, it's different rhythm, it's a different mindset. It's a completely different margin, and you need to work with a different kind of P&L if you're building your own tech. So most of the companies in our corporate and enterprise plan are moving to Profi from their custom build out.
And so are they retailers, or what kind of service providers? So you got coaches, consultants. Are they groups of them? Are they therapists, with 10 therapists, or what are they?
Yeah, our ideal customer persona is a services organization that that kind of diversifies and scales their company by adding additional services types. So, for example, an executive coaching company, we love them, but they, as what we noticed at scale, they start diversifying their service portfolio, services menu, and they start adding, for example, coach training or consulting services. That's actually a big trend that we see right now on the market. Companies start diversifying their services to weather the economic condition. And they start, for example, executive coaching company en masse are adding, other kind of training or group services or
Not getting enough revenue from the traditional
consulting.
business? Is it because the market's down, or why is that? Is it because they're trying?
Exactly.
The market's
Yeah,
down.
I mean, in the ZERP era, executive coaching companies would be like were charging anything. There was no, kind of silver lining. It was they could charge just anything. Nowadays, tech companies who have been historically the primary buyers of executive coaching services, they've all pretty much cut their expenses, and that of course created this kind of trickle down effect. And executive coaching companies are facing severe budget cuts and CFOs holding the budgets, and they need to prove the ROI in order to get into the next kind of budgeting cycle. And it's much harder in the executive coaching space to provide an ROI.
How much do you think it's down, Alina? What do you think in terms of the market? Well, how much down is it from last year, 2 years ago?
I would say that it's hard to say, but 2023 was hard based on all of our conversations and our data. 2024 saw some signs of recovery because some of the executive coaching companies started targeting traditional sectors, and they kind of expanded their customer base outside of just tech companies. So that kind of stabilized them. And then again, by diversifying and adding additional services, such as, for example, coach training or consulting or overall training or I don't know, something else, some other services types, they were able to level out their revenue and then, show kind of signs of recovery and growth. So that's the trend that we're seeing. Huh?
It's interesting because I didn't realize the tech companies were down that much. Is it, you think 30%, 40%, 20%? What do you think?
Probably, I would say in the ballpark of like 30% or so. But yeah. It really also depends on the company, on the check size, and there are several kind of variability points in that equation.
Mm-hmm. And so, which ones are the most receptive to you when you go out? What kind of professional services companies say, "Oh, I love this, Alina. This is perfect."
Yes, as soon as a company starts scaling and they are facing the need to standardize their client experience. And for example, if it's a B2B2B play, for example, a services company starts selling to enterprises and they need SOC 2, they need HIPAA. HIPAA is for health and wellness services, or any other security measures in place. That's when they need a platform like Profi, because if they're using either kind of purpose-built tools, or if they're using, on average right now, for example, we substitute 14 different solutions into one single platform, Profi, or if they, for example, sending a whole kind of bullet list of logins. Of course, it's very hard for them to sell to enterprises and deliver a consistent, outstanding professional service and charge a big ticket for it, because everything, the experience has to be streamlined in order to be even kind of received as professional. So companies that are scaling, we notice as soon as the company scales to over 10 providers, and that can be coaches, that can be consultants, that can be trainers, or health and wellness providers. That's when they really need us, because we not just enable companies to diversify their workflows and to diversify again their service portfolio, but also we enable them to scale to as many providers as they want under one roof, under one centralized roof, so that they standardize their client experience and the provider experience. They have all the visibility and control, as well as configurability, reporting, and all the data flows centralized and under central management, so that it's easy to manage, for example, client relationships, all the payment information and communications and everything else.
That sounds interesting. So we're coming up to the top of the show. What advice would you have to other startup entrepreneurs like yourself that are switching careers? So that's door number one. And door number two, closing thoughts, and how can people get a hold of you?
Love it. Thank you. I think being a startup founder is really hard, and things get very uncertain. And sometimes, it, right? There's no such a thing as a certainty in startups. So what keeps me going, and Adam also is, that's kind of been his top learning as well, is you have to follow your gut. If your gut screams that you have to go for something, that's the only thing that's going to help you persevere through any kind of challenges. And I strongly believe that in the startup world, the one that perseveres wins the race. Now it's a time for camels, not the unicorns. So perseverance starts with you having very clear why you're doing this, and you cannot not do this, and that's what's gonna again help you go back to sleep once you're up from all this stress. So yeah, follow the gut has been my magic trick.
When you've gone from these companies that you weren't a founder of to this, was there a transition you had to take? Did it take you a while to get used to the uncertainty?
No, being a producer is very uncertain because you're responsible for the weather. You're responsible for everything, anything you cannot imagine, even for your host not getting enough sleep at night, not enough vitamin D, or things like this. So that prepared me really well for the founder role. And previously I built a transformational food and exited from that company, so that was also my good experience too into what being a founder is. But also, again, I'm fortunate enough to work with Adam and a great team. I could not have done anything without them.
No, it's great. And how do people get a hold of you?
I'm very much open to LinkedIn conversations, as well as please reach out to Alina at Profi.io if there is anything we can help. And the Profi.io is our website where I constantly post hopefully interesting articles. And yeah, let's have a conversation. I'm super excited to learn and serve the market.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, Alina, thanks for taking time in your busy schedule to join us today. And thanks for all my audience. One more time, join us. GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Thanks, Alina, and thanks, everybody.